only for 1 year. It was a joy. There was a head of a department then, Harold Van Bromlin, who ran a course that was almost required for all faculty on how to do biblical integration, which means how to teach your subject, whether it's chemistry or history or biology or anything else, from a biblical point of view. And I don't know that that was here. When I was hired, I said, what's your perspective? I was in the political science department. I said, what angle are we going to take? I did all my degrees under atheists in Australia. I have a PhD in worldview analysis from the University of Sydney. I studied the worldview changes that Muslim students go into as they study at Western universities. So I did my master's degree on Islamic political ideology. So I was very interested to see what direction the political science department was going to, what flavor they were going to have. And I was basically told that, well, if you're a Christian, whatever you think is okay. And I thought, that stunned me, because number one, the heart and the mind are separate issues. And primarily, a university is a head issue. It's teaching subject, it's teaching content. And so that concerned me. As I taught several courses, I had students say to me, you're the most Christian professor we've got here. I said, what are you talking about? I said, nobody ever mentions Christianity or refers to it in their subject area. Well, my course was comparative political ideology, so I understood what Marxism was, I understood what secularism is, I understood what Islam is, and I understood what a biblical worldview is. So I think part of the problem, oh, by the way, so I was told, I said, well, what's the perspective on Islam in this department? And I was told Islam is a religion of peace, which is totally counter to my master's degree at the University of Sydney, which was fully accepted there by a secular institution where I studied Islamic political ideology. Anyone can Google political ideology and study it. So for this university to mislead people that Islam and Christianity are somehow similar is wrong. It's false. Now, we love Muslims, but you can't love Islamic political ideology. So the concern I have is the hiring practices for a university. I teach Christian biblical worldview now. For 10 years since I left here, I've been working for a Christian ministry that teaches the biblical worldview. And I think it's important to decide how to hire people here. I find, at least we found in that science department, by talking to the former, I think he was a dean, that faculty are hired at department level, which is a huge mistake, because you have no quality control from above. So you're finding out that the president's really biblical, but he has no say over who gets hired at a department level, which is the first way down for any Christian university, because as one department gets infiltrated, it will perpetrate an ongoing hiring process. And this happens on every university in the world. At the University of Sydney, I studied under rampant Marxists. And so you knew the Marxists in the department, what perspective they'll take on America. There was your token homosexual, your token feminist. So this university has to have people who have a biblical content, who know what a worldview is. I don't mean just some theology. I'm talking about a biblical ability to critique chemistry, physics, history from a biblical point of view, but also know the counterfeits: Marxism, Islam, secular humanism. So Christians must know, as my mentor told me in 1984 when I was mentored by a professor from the States in a worldview setting. He said, it's not enough to know your own worldview fairly and fully. You have to know why you believe, what you believe and why, but what you don't believe and why. So I find that this university will go the way of Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Stanford, the first 150 universities in the United States. We're all started by denominations, and most of those are gone, and many Christian ones, as our ministries worked with the faculty, have lost their foundation. So I question the way people are hired here. I question what kind of quality control mechanism is put upon them. You can't work at McDonald's and change the way you make French fries. You follow the instruction. So I do believe that it's going to rise or fall on the faculty in this institution, and I don't see that there's a quality control mechanism, a biblical worldview screen or statement that faculty are able to even communicate a biblical view of chemistry as well as an evolutionary view. So I'm not just for saying, let's just teach the biblical. I think professors should be hired who can teach all views so that you know Christianity is true. Because atheism isn't, Marxism isn't, Islam isn't. So I would offer hiring faculty and training faculty who understand the prevailing worldviews and why Christianity is true in their discipline. Otherwise, they should not be hired. You will lose your university one faculty at a time, and we're seeing that. Gender studies should never have been, in my view, a department. Whoever set that up as a department has legitimized an area of knowledge that is not knowledge. It should be classified, it should be a course of study, gender dysphoria, which is a philosophical issue, not a biological issue. So I'm reading all this about homophobia, hate speech, etc. There's nothing in there that says we should be against heterophobia. So the normal heteronormative sexuality is not even mentioned, but everything else is. Gender studies should have been put under the psychology department as something similar to anorexia nervosa. It should never be legitimized by giving its own department, which then allows for the infiltration of the idea that this is a truth when it's completely based upon falsehoods. Thank you.